Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with
A, B, C.
When you sing, you begin with do, re, mi.
I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to see you. I've got more than 50 minutes worth of stuff to share with you today, and it'll probably take 2 weeks before we've done everything the first time and gotten through this orientation stuff, okay? But you made the right decision being here today. You know, there's this myth that nothing important happens on the first day of class. Well, I think something important happens every day in this room, but today sets the stage for the whole semester, and I want you to be here. I'm glad you're here to participate in this. This is Principles of Accounting 1. It's financial accounting. It's an introductory course. We assume you know nothing. We're going to start from the beginning. If you had a little high school experience, then you've got a little bit of a background. A student said to me that it was his perception that you needed to take high school accounting to do well in this course, and that's not my opinion. We start at the beginning. We just go faster than we would have if this were a high school course, okay? You got the background, good. If you don't have the background, don't worry about it. We're going to be able to accomplish that. You can do well in this class. You can succeed. It'll take me a while to get to know you. I thought I'd share some things about me so that we could begin that process of getting to know one another. I'm Ray Gregg, and it occurred to me a few years back that if I don't tell you, you don't know. I'm talking specifically about how to address me. Some students call me Mr. Gregg, sometimes they call me Professor Gregg, sometimes they call me Dr. Gregg. And I just need to let you know that I'm not Dr. Gregg, okay? So I've heard it so much, it's kind of, you know, water on a duck's back, it kind of rolls off of me. So if we could address me correctly, that'd be nice. I'm in the College of Business hallway. It's 2 hallways over. Raise your hand if you don't know where the College of Business is. Everybody in the room does. Good, I can skip that part. So if you go in the front door, lobby, down the hallway, about halfway on the right, our names are beside the door. My name's there, okay? I'm there a lot, and I want you to know that you can come and see me there. I announce official office hours, they'll pop up in a minute, but I don't want to limit it to just those times and keep my door closed the rest of the time or not show up. I'm here, and my passion is to have you succeed in the class. I want you to do well, and if that takes time in my office, I'd gladly spend it with you. The phone there is 918-495-6561. If you dial from your cell phone, you have to dial the area code. You do that. If you dial from a Tulsa phone, you have to dial the area code, a landline. If you dial from an on-campus extension, you can just dial 6561. I remember distinctly years ago when we got voicemail and what a big deal it was, how it improved our communication ability. I'm talking about voicemail. The only reason I bring it up is to make sure that you're communicating with me about things that I need to know. There are lots of ways to do that, but a severe example would be some calamity in your life happened, you missed a major exam, and 3 weeks later, you contact me to take the makeup exam. Well, I'm going to bristle a bit. I'm not going to be real polite or nice or cooperative because you didn't do your job. When that calamity occurred, you or someone who knows about that should have communicated that to me. And if you just left me a voicemail message, you would experience cooperation out of me like you've never seen before. I'll work with you. And I can be a pretty nice guy, but I can also be a little irritable when you don't do your part in this relationship that we're establishing today, okay? So be courteous enough to let me know. You can do that through email too, and that's probably the best way to do it. You know, the standardized email around here for staff and faculty is first initial, last name. So if you forget this, don't write it down, don't know what it is, try that. Here's your first pop quiz trick question. Give me a quick response right off the top of your head. Say something out loud. How many G's in Greg?
3.
The most common incorrect answer is 2. you thought I was talking about these, I'm talking about all three of them. And if you thought I was talking about that one and this one, and you send the message like this, am I getting through to you right now? I'm not going to get it. You got to put those two G's on the end, okay? So that's a good way to get a hold of me. I've already said I'm in my office a lot, and you're welcome to come and see me. The university asked me to announce official office hours, and these are they. If you don't have time to write them down, there's someplace else to see them. There will be posted next week outside my office door. They'll be posted next week on that bulletin board. We've got 2 electronic ways to keep in touch with one another that will become more explanatory later this hour. I have a class website, and we've got D2L. You don't have to understand all that right this minute, but I'll try to post my office hours there too, because what good's it going to do you if they're by my door or on that bulletin board and you're in your dorm room or in your apartment or at home and wondering if I'm in my office right now. So I wanted to allow you to have some other way of knowing that. The reminder for the 3rd time is I'm not limited to these hours. I'm there more than that. And if my office door is open or cracked or even closed, there's a good chance that I'm going to see you if I'm there. I'd rather talk to you than do whatever other tasks I'm responsible for. I said at the beginning that I've got more than 50 minutes worth to say, and yesterday for the first time I experimented with something and it kind of worked, and I'm toying with whether to do it or not, and obviously I've started a sentence, which means I'm going to do it. One of the things that happens in here is that we talk to one another, and I'll have more to say about that in a few minutes. I'm wondering if you have the nerve to talk to me today. You're a little intimidated by me and by your peers and afraid to talk, but there's really no harm in talking. It's not going to improve your grade or lower your grade. What I'm curious about is your preconceived notion of the class. I'm asking 3 of you, actually 6 of you, to tell me something good and something bad that you've heard about the class. I can handle either. I can handle both, okay? I want you to tell me one thing each, just 3 people who are willing to have the nerve to talk, and help us all out by speaking loud enough that we can all hear you. And help us all out to help me classify these. At the beginning of your comments, say, this is good or this is bad, so we'll know how to listen to it. Don't leave it up to us to figure it out. Do you understand the parameters I've drawn here? Do you have a preconceived notion about the class? Tell me something good, tell me something bad. Who's going first? Yes, ma'am.
Something bad, I heard you give a lot of work and you're going to fail the class, I'm going to pass it.
Wait. You give a lot of work and?
I might fail the class or I'm going to pass it, depending on my learning style. And good thing I heard that you...
Oh, you don't have to do it. No.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
That's okay. I give a lot of work is a bad thing, and it is true. Can we talk?
I've heard you're very passionate about teaching.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
Okay, thank you. I am. I want to hear some good. I want to hear some true things, but maybe this is an opportunity to tell you that's not true. You know, I think you've heard some things that aren't true, and I don't know what they are yet. I got a hunch, but I don't know.
I've heard that you make us feel good about our mistakes. Not everybody makes them.
Is that a good thing? That's a very true statement, and that comes up today. I'm going to say that today. You want to talk to me or not? We don't have time. Yes, ma'am.
I've heard that you're a really caring teacher and you give your outside hours, like you said, that you're always there and you really care. Like most teachers don't no, my office hours are like to myself and
Okay.
you really care.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
it's a good thing.
I already had the wrong finger up, didn't I? Okay, somebody's got to balance this out. Tell me, come on, be honest with me. Tell me a couple of downers. You're not telling the truth because I know you've heard some bad things about this course. Other than there's a lot of work. Come on.
I heard your tests are hard.
Tests are hard. Yes, ma'am.
Most people I know that are taking accounting, they're up late at night trying to finish it and working lots of groups because it's that hard.
So you've observed that firsthand. Is that a bad thing?
Yes.
Might be. And that was kind of like that one. Okay, let's talk about the course. I have some characteristics that you know about already, and some people have already mentioned them. And one summer school session a while back, well, first of all, in the regular semester, we do a faculty evaluation thing electronically, okay? But in summer school, that a few years ago, that wasn't available to us. So to give the students an opportunity to have some feedback and to help me improve the course, I asked them to write some things for me. And one of them kind of nailed it right on the spot. This guy pegged me, and I thought it was insightful of him to be able to do that in a short period of time. And ask his permission to share this. It's Isaac. He's already graduated. Isaac writes, at the beginning of the class, I was very surprised by Mr. Gregg's personality. It was a teaching style I'd never experienced before. After having been through both accounting classes, now I believe that the in-your-face mentality is a good learning tool for students. Oftentimes, with this latest generation, the only way to get through to us is shock us into paying attention. Well, this is Isaac's phrase. This is his interpretation of me. And others describe me as being a little intimidating. The formal name for my teaching style is the Socratic method. What you're sitting in right this minute is called the discussion group. There are hundreds of accounting teachers who demonstrate only. Just show you how to do it, show you how to do it, show you how to do it, show you how to do it. And we never know whether you can do it or not. And my teaching style is based on the professor from whom I learned the most in college, who was much more intimidating than I. This is the loving version of him, the caring version. But it's also just to engage you in the process. If I can engage you mentally and verbally in the class, if I can get you to participate, if I can find out how you're doing, then you'll be better off. It's all for you. It's not about me at all. It's all because I know how many people succeed with this style. Now, Christian read this that Isaac wrote, much like you're sitting in the room today, but after completing the class, she said, by the way, she graduated this past spring, I specifically remember the first day of class when Isaac said, the in-your-face style of teaching. At that point, I was nervous about the experience. Now that I'm finishing Principles 1, I can definitely say this style has impacted me the most. The most beneficial aspect of the discussion time of class was making mistakes. Didn't somebody say that today? Now, having been encouraged multiple times that making mistakes benefits me and the whole class, I've become more willing to state my thoughts and answers. Grasping the idea that in-your-face teaching is the key to accomplishing the concepts of accounting can change your whole outlook on the class. When I welcomed it with open arms, accounting became something I enjoyed accomplishing. When other students expect accounting as being challenging, I just think of the challenges I fulfilled while in the class. You may get, in your career, lots of nice bosses, but you may get a lot of bosses who are very demanding and cruel and mean and intimidating. And I'm not really trying to role play that. When you make a mistake on the job, it could be very costly. This is an academic environment in which we should be free to make mistakes. My job is to help you learn from your mistakes and those of others. We can all do that. You won't like giving wrong answers in class, but most times a wrong answer is better than a right one. If you will work with me and think with me and logically progress to the right answer, all of us will benefit. And that's what we're going to do time and time again in this room. There are lots of tools to help us accomplish that. You should have some questions about the requirements, bookstore-wise, for the course. Let me see who's already accomplished buying a book. You're all set. You've got your book. Hands up. High. Okay. Who doesn't have a book yet? All right. I do have an audience, okay? You're curious. I'm not trying to talk you out of the decision you've already made. If you're satisfied with your book situation, good, stay with it. The choices have become broader. Not very many years ago, you had to buy a book like this, and you had to buy a book like this, and these were called working papers, and the working papers were perforated. We wrote on them, we tore them out, we brought them to class and turned them in for homework. You had to buy a book for both semesters. It was hardback, and you had to buy working papers for this semester and then a new set of working papers for next semester. That's the tradition. Times are changing fast, okay? This book would probably sell for around $250. I can't believe the prices of books. It's just incredible what you're faced with. And I have nothing to do with that whatsoever, except that we have negotiated with the publisher and have chosen to do a paperback book and make it available in the bookstore. With that comes something called Wiley Plus, which is a computer code that allows you access to the publisher's website, where you get access to this book electronically, and next semester's book like it electronically. So the package that used to be traditional is now formatted a little differently. If you've already shopped online and found a good deal, good for you. But if you're just now shopping and want to compare, go online and look around for some things, but don't forget to look at the bookstore. We believe that the price that we've gotten from the publisher, $155 for this book and Wiley Plus, which, the paperback version, which is these two additional things you're going to need this semester and next, is a better deal that you can find someplace else. If you bought a used book online, you didn't buy Wiley Plus. And Wiley Plus all by itself cost $112. And that's going to make your deal online not as sweet as it used to be. Okay? Now, some of you are thinking, I don't have a book, or I've ordered my book and it's not here yet. Wiley, the publisher, has done this wonderful, generous thing for us. They've allowed us a grace period, all their customers, a grace period to see the electronic version of the book. So we're off to a better start than usual. Usually these first 2 weeks, we're waiting on everybody to get a book and trying to cover material as well. That eliminates the excuse, I don't have a book yet. If you go to wileyplus.com and follow their steps, you can sign up for a 14-day grace period until your book comes in, or until you make the decision, I'm going to buy it online, I'm going to buy it from somebody else, or I'm going to buy it from the bookstore. Have I made myself clear?
Yes.
Do you have questions? I hope you'll ask. Yes, ma'am.
To see it electronically, is there a username or password?
You handle that all with the registration process. Let me give you another tip about that. I don't like to say things before I've defined them. I've used Wiley Plus a little loosely here, but I guess this was the definition of it. I've also said class website D2L. Who's familiar with D2L already? Who's not? Never heard of it? Good. Okay, D2L stands for Desire to Learn, and it's our university course management system. It's the way we communicate with you electronically, make resources available to you electronically. Now, D2L is already up and running, and on the D2L class website, I'll show you slides later, d2l.oru.edu. Your Z number and your birthday will get you in. Change your birthday, that's the password right now. Change it to your password so that's not standardized anymore. You can get to our course already, and on our course I just put a document up that explains in detail how to go to Wiley Plus and how to sign up for the 14-day grace period. And if that's not clear enough to you, then I would be glad to help you with it individually. Were there others of you that had questions? Quickly so we can get it done.
If we were to buy Wiley Plus just a la carte, just
Yes,
the
ma'am.
online one, does it work just for this semester, or will it carry over?
It'll carry over to both semesters. Okay, that's the topic we just talked about. Working papers are going to be available on D2L. It'll be a little easier for you to negotiate. We'll have more to say about that in a second. Okay, in your visit to the bookstore, I need Scantron sheets. We're going to have 3 major exams this semester. They're multiple choice. I need the oblong ones, the skinny ones, okay? And if you want to give me the whole packet, thank you very much. If you want to take 3 out and give me those 3 and save the others to use in your other courses, that'd be smart. Just keep them nice and flat. The idea here is that if I collect them, I'll have a pile at the door when you walk in, and that'll be one less thing you have to worry about on exam day. I'll have them for you. So let's, late next week, perhaps the following week, start collecting them in class. I think it takes 4 weeks to cover the material up to the first test, so let's try to get them in these first 4 weeks and bring them to class. There's a whole lot of resource materials in the book and on Wiley Plus. Wiley Plus is a good thing for you to have access to. It would be worth the code to get all the other electronic resources that are there. The book electronically, the working papers we've already named, and all these practice materials. A lot of what I do in class live is on Wiley Plus, and it's self-checking. There is also another book that I have nicknamed the Study Guide. It's really called the Problem Solving Survival Guide. And it's got outlines of the chapters, it's got true, false, multiple choice, matching, and short problem exercises. But the best thing about it, it's got the answers in it. And I think first semester you probably have enough resources in the book and on Wiley Plus. But if you needed something extra, if you just, accounting is one of those things, you're going to be better at it the more times you do it. It comes with practice. The proficiency that we're trying to get you to do is repetition. And if you think this would be a good thing for you, it's the bookstore's already out. They've already sold all they bought. They didn't buy one for everybody because it's optional. They didn't know how many people were going to buy it. But I talked to the lady yesterday, and she's willing to order more if you want them. There's also an electronic version of this. If you'd like to do it electronically, you could do that too. Maybe you're curious about why and how you registered for the class, the uniqueness of the names of the times we get together. When you registered for the class, as a package, you got an 8:50 Monday lecture and an 8:50 Wednesday, Friday discussion where we are today. In addition to that, we ask you to register for a lab. So when you look at your printout of your schedule from the registrar's office, when it's just the line-by-line version, you should see 2 lines for accounting. One for this package and one for the lab. I thought we'd talk about them real quickly just to sort of give you an idea of what to expect in those places. I've already said everybody's going to be in lecture 8:50 Monday morning. It meets in 5114 upstairs. The educational people tell us that lecture is the least effective way to learn. I think sometimes of eliminating lecture. But there are some basic concepts. There are some highlights that you need to know. I can't imagine the course without it. The room's going to be pretty full. I'd ask that you pick a seat on Monday where you'd like to sit the rest of the semester. I'd like you to fill the room from the front. Let's take the opposite of Baptist approach. Baptists have the reputation of sitting in the back. I grew up in the Baptist church, I can say that. One of the things that impressed me about the church that we've attended for the last 25 years or so, the Methodist church, is that the church always fills from the front. It's just the tradition at that particular church, and it's pleasant. Come on, sit down at the front. I won't bite. It'll be okay. All right? Let's leave the back row empty if possible. The point about lecture is, if it is the least effective way to learn, what can we do to make it better? You could be on time and be a little prepared. Maybe looking at Wednesday's homework assignment early, reading part or all of the chapter, would make you come to class looking for something. If you don't know a thing about the material and I present it brand new for the first time, you're likely to leave more concerned, depressed about the material than if you came to class a little upset, confused, and as I explained it, the expression on your face improved with understanding. You would learn more if you would invest a little before you come to lecture. Allow me to try to go fast and present the material to you. Almost every lecture ends with an illustration that is similar to your homework. I'm trying to get you started on your homework. And every time we meet together, you're different. I think about the ocean and the waves coming in and going out and coming in and going out. When you come to lecture, you learn something, you go out and try to work a homework problem and read the book a little bit, and when you come on Wednesday, you're different than you were when I saw you on Monday. And then you learn some things in class, and you go out and you work another homework problem or two and read a little more of the chapter and have some people help you, and you help other people, and you come back to class and you know more than you did the last time we were together. You see how it works? It's a building block kind of thing in many ways. You learn more all week long, but this is perhaps the most building block course you've ever taken. Chapter 2 depends on Chapter 1, and 3 and 4 depend on 1 and 2. And what we do in Chapter 12 directly relates to what we did in Chapters 1 through 4. It's not a study it and set it aside and never do that again kind of class. It's a we need to know everything so that we can use it later kind of class. You will use this next semester. You will use this in another course, or one or more, several courses. But the main thing is I believe you will use this content on the job. You will be a better professional in your career because you can talk and do these things. Some people misinterpret my actions and say that I'm teaching this to you like you were going to be accountants, and that is not true. I am very firm in my understanding that I'm providing a service to all of you, whatever your major is. I just know that you're going to encounter this someplace in your career. There's a very high probability. You may not do these actual things, but you'll be able to understand and communicate and converse and make good decisions based on what you learn in this course. And I think it starts with lecture. Twice a week, on Wednesdays and Fridays, we meet in here. There are 4 sections that are similar to these. Some meet on Tuesday, Thursday, some meet on Wednesday, Friday. They're listed on Vision. They're listed in the course syllabus I'm going to give you in a few minutes. They will be posted on the bulletin board soon. I want you to know that on occasions you can come to another class. This is 8:50 Wednesday, Friday. Somebody in this room is going to oversleep once or twice this semester. You could come at 9:50 on Wednesday to make up for it. If you know that you have to be someplace and are going to miss the 8:50, you could come on Tuesday to make up for Wednesday. Or you could come on Thursday to make up for Friday. You could plan. I don't want you to miss the experience of being here. When you miss and come back the next class period, and everybody else is communicating and you've got that deer in the headlights look because you have no clue what's going on, you'll wish you had made some effort to be in class. We're not together very much. We need to maximize our time together so that you can learn out of class what you need to be learning so that we can have good experiences in class. When you come on Wednesday next week, we're going to pick the seat that you're going to sit in the rest of the semester. We're fine the way we are right now. But if you want to move around a little bit, you get to choose. You don't have to sit in this seat on next Wednesday. You get here early enough. You want to choose where you sit. If this is the number we have, we'll fit fine. I need a little space for mine. If I have one more student enrolled, I'm going to give up this one. If we have 2 more students enrolled, we've got a problem. It looks to me like every seat's full. Okay? We'll solve that problem. It'll be a good problem to have. Do you have questions about anything I've said so far about lecture or discussion? This is kind of a picture of the process. I kind of alluded to this a second ago. Everybody comes to one lecture, and then we break you out into smaller groups so that we can have a more personal interaction. Yours happens to be this one, Wednesday, Friday, 8:50. I have 2 yesterday, one at 9:50 and one at 2:20, and then there's another section that follows this. And again, I'll post that and make that information available to you. I just wanted you to see a general picture of how all these students in these 4 groups will be attending lectures, so there's 100 or so students in the room on Monday. Lab, was that a question?
Yep.
Labs meet in this room 10 times a week. Labs are specifically to help you individually with your homework. I have 5 student assistants who took the course here, who accomplished in the course, made good grades, know about the material, and are willing to help you, have already expressed a willingness to help you. It is a great opportunity for you to get help with your homework. Now, you can do your homework without a lab assistant. You can learn out of the book. You can learn in class. You can study with a friend. There are lots of ways to learn. But a good habit to get into would be to come to class and learn in class in lab 2. I want you to know that we ask you to come to 1 per week, but you may come to as many others as you would like. And to let you know when those are, they're available on Vision. If you pretended you were enrolling for the class, you can see the whole list. I'll have a list on the back wall next week, hopefully. It's in your syllabus that I'm going to hand you in a little bit, so that would be the best reference point. If you want to know other times that lab meets other than the one you're scheduled to go to, you can look there. We need to come to the one we're enrolled for. That if all 120 of us came at one time, we wouldn't fit in this room. So that's the way we've scattered you out through the week. But you may come to as many others voluntarily that you would like. If you find lab to be a good experience, and I want you to, then you might want to look at your schedule and make a note of the other times that it would be available for you to come. Here are the labs. So they're stacked toward the beginning of the week, which doesn't, excuse me, which doesn't help procrastinators. I'm the world's, no, I'm not the world's worst. My sister's the world's worst. I'm the second world's worst procrastinator, okay? I do some of my best work under pressure. I don't want you to be that. The homework is skewed toward the end of the week on purpose. You typically will have 2 homework assignments due on Friday to give you all week to do it. But when you wait till Thursday night at 10 o'clock to start your assignments for Friday, look at all the opportunities you passed up to get help. The better model would be, as soon as you leave lecture, start working on Wednesday's homework assignment. You've got help on Monday to get you started. And then on Tuesday, you've got some help. And you turn in one assignment on Wednesday. There's still some labs you can go to. So your class meets at 8:50. Go to class Wednesday afternoon while you're fresh about what you learned in class to start on Friday's homework. There's lab opportunities for you to get help if you would like it. Our tradition in lab is that we take attendance on the first 3 rows. If you want your attendance to count, if this is your group of accountability, be on time, work on accounting, sign the attendance sheet, stay the whole class period. Don't leave early. On the other hand, if it's one of those volunteer labs that you would like to attend just for some help, you may come late, sit on row 4, don't sign the attendance sheet, leave when you want to, once you had your question answered. Pop in, pop out kind of thing. Do you understand what I just described to you? Yes or no? Good. Some of you won't make it through the class without lab. It'll be the best thing that happens. Some of you won't like lab and won't want to go. And if you can make it through the material and do a good job without going to the lab, hats off to you. Good. I've got what I call the 80% rule. If you make 80% on the first test, you're excused from lab until the second test. Now, if lab's what got you there, it wouldn't be smart to not go to lab. If that contributed to your success, it's by test. So if you make 80% on the second test or better, you're excused from lab until the third test. But everybody goes to lab at the beginning to get used to lab and to see whether it's going to be beneficial or not. It's not based on your average, it's based on each test score. Labs didn't meet this week because homework wasn't collected this week. Your first homework assignment is due on Wednesday next week, so labs will begin Monday on their regular schedule and will meet for your help. I hope you'll find it to be beneficial. It seems funny to talk about the final exam today, but I'm all about what are you going to master this semester. Let's start talking about the final now. Let's start preparing for the final now. I've already mentioned that this is a comprehensive class, that it's building block in nature. We need to know all of this material. Well, I don't apologize for giving a comprehensive final exam. The final is over the whole course. You need to know this material. We want to know what you're taking away from the course and going on to other courses about. It's given according to our lecture time. Now, I don't have the university schedule yet. It's not published, but it hasn't changed in several years. So I'm not even changing in this PowerPoint on purpose. So I'm looking at the 09 schedule on purpose. I could have gotten last fall's, but to show you the consistency, don't look at the date, but look at the day. I'm looking at the 8:50 Monday, Wednesday, Friday time slot, which is yours. 9:45 on the Wednesday of final exams week is that block. Now, there's a reason for me bringing it up today. I'm telling you today, there is a high probability that your final exam is going to be this day. Whenever the schedule comes out, we're going to abide by that one. The problem is that your parents find super saver airplane tickets that they can save thousands of dollars for you to get home for Christmas, and they buy your ticket on Tuesday. And that causes a real problem. I'm announcing the first day of class that the final exam is given according to the publicized schedule and asking you to abide by it. Don't leave early. Show up to take the final so we won't have that problem. It was Oral Roberts himself who decided to require attendance at this place, and I am grateful for that to this day, and you will be too. I can't imagine you trying to learn accounting and come into class occasionally. I've already mentioned the deer in the headlights look you'll have when you miss a day and come back the following day. Something good happens in here every time we get together we're going to learn a lot. You just need to be here. I don't have bonus points for perfect attendance. I do allow what I consider to be a generous 4 absences without an excuse to take care of minor illnesses, upset stomachs and sore throats and colds, and you miss a little bit, come under the 4. If you have major things, you have surgery, you're in the hospital, you have to go home for a funeral, you're in a car wreck, then you communicate with me and we'll work out something, okay? I do excuse a few major things. I don't want to deal with minor things. I don't want nurses excused from on campus. Did you hear me? I'm not trying to be mean or cruel or insensitive about that. Those are going to happen, and that's the reason I've allowed you these 4. That's to cover those 2, okay? There is a slight penalty with the 5th. By the time you get to the 10th absence, it hurts more than that. It's a generous policy. It's probably the least punitive of any of the professors on campus. But at 10, you got a serious problem. There will be 2 or 3 or 4 students this semester who will make a letter grade lower because of attendance only. And that's a sad deal. But that's a choice you make every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every lab, to be there and to show up and do what is expected of you. Let's pretend that the syllabus is the King James Version, and what you're hearing right this minute is the Living Translation, okay? Just about everything I've said today is in the syllabus, like the book and the ISBN number and the 10th edition and all that stuff is in the syllabus. You can find that on your own. I think one of the things you'd like to hear today is how do the points work, and I'd like to describe that to you. So let's turn over in the syllabus and see if we can't find, I think it's page 5, about the middle of the page. It talks about 500 points available in the course. And you can look in the syllabus in a minute. I'll have it on the screen in a minute, what the breakdown is. But I want to embellish that. Well, maybe this is the message version. I want to embellish that with you understanding about how the grade will be determined at the end. I have what I call the drop the low test policy. And more accurately, it is the drop the low 100 points policy. So the 500 points you see there, I'll drop one thing. And that's better for everybody. That's not grade inflation because I've been doing it consistently for years. It's not that I want everybody to make a higher grade. Some of you will have an 84 average with all your points and an 86 average with your best 400 points, and it'll still be a B. But some of you will have an 88 average with all your points and a 91 average, and will make a letter grade higher because of this policy, and that's not why I do it. There is one string attached to the policy that I'll come back to in a second, but I wanted to tell you why I do it. I don't think makeup exams are fair. I'm concerned about you taking the exam on time because you're prepared and a little bit ill that day, but you had the muster to come on and take the exam. You didn't use a flimsy excuse. I'm concerned that you, the honorable person, would be taken advantage of by someone else who wasn't prepared and feigned an illness in order to buy more time or to find out what was on the exam and to have an unfair advantage over you. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? The majority of you won't do this. Some of you would take advantage and would try to take a makeup later, and that's not fair to the majority of you. So I have this policy, and I've effectively eliminated makeups. It's my policy, and I'll make exceptions. If you'll work with me and there's a legitimate excuse there, we'll work it out. But I want you to try your best to be well prepared and in attendance on the day that everybody else takes the exam. That's fair to everybody. Now, let's talk about the string attached. Oh, we've heard about all the work in this class. Didn't that come up when you got to talk part of this class? Yes, there's a lot of work. This is a doing kind of discipline. You're going to understand it better by doing it. So here's the 500 points. 100 of them are homework and quizzes. Oh, I can see the conniver in the audience today. Not really. I'm just imagining that at least one person out there is thinking, oh, I've heard about all the work in accounting. Drop the low test policy? Oh, I'll just drop homework. Academic suicide. Perish those thoughts. No, that's not the smartest decision. So I'll try to alleviate that. I'm putting the string attached that you have to achieve a minimum of 60 points in the category in the syllabus labeled homework and quizzes. Now, I'm a fast talker and a lazy talker, and sometimes I call this homework, but it's homework and quizzes. And I'm asking you to pass homework. I'm asking you to achieve 60 points. 60 is a D. The D's passing. I need 60 points in this category in order for you to drop anything. How easy would it be to get 60 points so that we could drop this? Well, the split in this 100 is 50 for homework and 50 for quizzes. So let's talk about quizzes. I'm going to choose your 5 best. They're worth 10 points each. Let's just max this out real quick. Will you go with me with the math right here? It's pretty simple. Stay with me mentally. 5 quizzes at 10 each is this 50 points. The minimum is 60. I need 10. I need 10 points on homework. Homework problems are 2 points apiece. How many homework problems do I need to turn in? 5 homework problems will get me the minimum. There are 35 homework assignments this semester. You work 5. That is a paltry small amount. That's not much. But I don't think you can make 10s on 5 quizzes if you don't do your homework. So let's do 8s on quizzes. 8s on 5 quizzes is 40. You got 40 out of these, you need 20 more to get your 60, right? 20 points. Homework problems were 2 points each. Now you'd have to work 10 assignments. There happen to be 10 chapters. This is how I got to this. If you turn in 1 homework problem per week on the average, 1 out of 3, you could meet the homework minimum and drop homework as your lowest score. Do a good job on the test, make a decent grade in class. My hat's off to you for what you've accomplished. Is that the best approach? Absolutely not. It's the minimum approach. And I've got a room full of achievers, overachievers, in front of me right this minute, most of whom are not interested in achieving the minimum. Tell me about how to work the homework. How do I get access to the working papers? How do I find it on D2L? With each assignment you work this semester, for 35 times, you get to make this decision. With each homework assignment you work, you go to D2L, you find the appropriate file. They are Excel spreadsheets. You print, this is 3 options. 1 option, print it, write on it in pencil, bring it to class, turn it in. That's the way we've done it for years. That's as close to the tradition as I can describe. Some of you don't want to do Excel, don't want to do it on the computer. Some of you will learn more that way. That's a good way to do it still. Go to D2L, find the file, use Excel to prepare it, type it on the computer, print it out. You have to provide your own paper and ink. That's a disadvantage in both these. If you bought the booklet, you wouldn't have those additional costs. We're not doing that. You're going to have to pay for your own paper and ink. Then bring it to class and turn it in. Or find the file on D2L, find that particular file, prepare it in Excel, and submit it in D2L. There's what we call a Dropbox in D2L. You submit it electronically. We will return these to you in class. We will return these to you in class. We will return these to you electronically. And no paper, no ink involved, green. You choose. You can do one problem one way and another problem another way. You can choose each of these, whatever fits you each time. Whatever way you start, you have to see it through. You finish it out that way. You don't do it this way for a while and this way for a while on that assignment. You stick with that assignment all the way through.
Let's consider some of the steps involved in accessing and using D2L. First, you'd type in d2l.oru.edu, which takes you to the login page. Your username is your Z number. Your password the first time you use it is your birthday. but after that you need to change it to something more secure. When you click the login button, it should take you to a list of all the courses that are using D2L this semester. So from your list of courses, you could find our course, the Principles of Accounting 1 course. Click on that and it takes you to the opening page, the home page for our course. Near the top of the page, there's an item marked Content. Click on Content and it takes you to the list of choices from which you can pick. Generally speaking, it's a list of the chapters that we're using this semester and the working papers that are available. There are a few other choices there, but those are the exceptions. Most of the time, you would pick the file representing the chapter from which you're working. Click on any of them, but the illustration I'm using here is the one for Chapter 1. It opens up an Excel spreadsheet on your computer. And what you have across the bottom is a lot of tabs across the bottom. If we were to relate those tabs, each of them represents a page in the booklet, the working papers that we've traditionally used. So you need to use the scroll buttons at the bottom left so that you can scroll across to find the particular problem on which you're working, P11A or P12A or so forth. So as you scroll across, you would pick that particular problem on which to work. Then you would solve the problem either, well, first of all, you could print those pages that were involved in that particular problem, or solve it on Excel, or bring it to class after printing it, or turn it in the Dropbox. And those choices were explained someplace else in the orientation session. This was intended just to get you to see a few of the screenshots of D2L and get you a little more comfortable about how to sign on. Elsewhere on D2L, there's a link to a file that I prepared outlining particular procedures involved in submitting your homework on D2L. I would highly recommend that you consult that file and follow the instructions that are outlined there. Thanks for joining me in my office and allowing me to continue and finish the orientation that we began in class. I told you then I had more than 50 minutes worth to say, and I'll try to make it quick. I thank you for watching. We've talked about how to turn in homework, how to find the files on D2L and print them or turn them in class or turn them in the Dropbox. I thought you might be interested to know the outcome of homework. There are several things that could happen to homework after you turn it in. We'll let you know that you got credit for the assignment by giving you a check mark. And in class I use the illustration of homework being worth 2 points each. So when you get the check mark on your paper, that's the traditional 2 points are awarded. That doesn't mean it's correct completely. You could still learn some things from it. We might circle some things. We might make some suggestions. I'd encourage you to learn from your own mistakes, but you still got credit for it. The other alternative, the primary one, is we might mark the paper NC, which means no credit is awarded at this time. But one of the good things about the class is that we give you 2 chances to turn in your homework to get credit. If you will make the corrections and resubmit the assignment, then we'll look at it again. If it's correct the second time, you get the same check mark that you got the first time. NCs are really good things. Sometimes when you have a few NCs, they seem like downers, but they're really intended to be uppers. So you correct an NC, you put it back in the grader's hands, and perhaps you'll get credit for it the second time. We hope so. You need to make all the corrections and all the things that those corrections affect in order to get credit. Now, one of the things that we need to be clear about the choices you had to turn in homework is following through with your NC. If you turn it in class and you get an NC, then you should turn that assignment in class. If you turn it in the Dropbox and you get an NC, you need to turn your corrections into the Dropbox. Please don't turn in problems from class in the Dropbox and corrections from the Dropbox printed out in class. Let's follow that assignment through and be consistent from beginning to end about whether you're going to turn it in class or in the Dropbox. Now, one of the saddest things that happens in the course is that you do a slothful job in making your corrections, and we have no choice but to give you a still NC.
Remember, you turn in the first time, you turn in the second time with your corrections. If that assignment is still NC, it can't be turned in again. So all that work that you did on your assignment, you don't get points for. You still learned, but you don't get the points that we would like you to have to go with it. So that's a great opportunity for you to go to the lab or work with a friend and make sure that you've got the assignment right before you resubmit it for credit. Now, in the old days, some students tried to beat the system. If checkmark and NC are the only alternatives, then they would put their name on a piece of paper and turn in a blank sheet of paper. With checkmark and NC, they were really just buying time. I had to give them an NC. So then we came up with I, incomplete. You have to make a good effort on the assignment. If you complete 70% or more, we'll give you an NC and let you have some time to complete it and correct it. But if you just turn in a blank sheet of paper or just partial work, less than 70%, then we mark it I, and I's cannot be resubmitted. Finally, we expect the papers to be on time. I've already explained that they're due at the beginning of class. Whether in the Dropbox or whether in class, they're due at the time class begins. So if you turn the assignment in late, technically late, okay, late is our response. Now, at the beginning of the semester, we'll give a little slack. We want you to try to work toward that goal. As the semester progresses, we'll hold you accountable for that. You turn in a homework problem a day late, you miss class and bring that assignment 2 days late, we're going to mark it late. We'll look at it, we'll mark the things that are wrong, but you won't get any credit for it. So I hope you'll do your homework and that you'll make your corrections and you get credit for it and that you'll earn as many points as you can. One of the things that I'd like to encourage you with is bonus points. There are 10 bonus points available in homework. If you do all the assignments and receive check marks for all of them this semester, you can get 10 bonus points. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. We've already talked about in class, you don't have to do all the homework to get the credit and to make a good grade. You can even drop it as your low grade. But now on the other end of this, let's talk about maximizing it. If you max out your homework and earn these 10 points, it would have a significant effect on your grade at the end of the semester. It would be a good thing. Homework, as dreaded as it is, as time-consuming as it is, has the potential of you learning the most from any effort that you expend. The class time that you spend out of class should be productive and beneficial. Homework should be your highest number of points achieved because there's so much help available in labs and from your peers and from your teacher. You should be willing to invest that time and get the payoff from homework in understanding and in points. It will help you communicate better in class. It will help you understand the things that we're doing in class. You'll perform better on your quizzes, on other homework problems, and on the exams ultimately. And the ultimate is on your job someday. Because you know how to do this and because you're investing the time in homework, you'll take more away from the class. So let me encourage you to really do a good job on your homework. I've mentioned already, but I'd like to go into greater detail about the value of homework. I've mentioned already that there are 35 problems this semester, but you know that homework problems are worth 2 points each, and there's 50 points allocated to homework. 2 points each for 25 problems would get you the 50 points allocated in homework. Well, what about those extra 10 assignments? What about the difference between the 25 that you have to turn in for credit to get the 50 points and the 35 assigned in the syllabus? These are the ones I'm referring to as bonus. Each of the first 25 problems you turn in is worth 2 points each. The 26th problem is 1 point, and the 27th and the 28th, and so on through the 35th assignment. The 35th assignment is worth 1 point. There's 10 bonus points available for homework. It's possible to get 60 points in a category that I call 50. It's possible to get 60 points in a category that I call 50. It's possible to get 110 points in a category that I call 100. The excess that you would get above 90, the excess that you would get above 100, when added into your total points, can have a significant impact on your final grade. I thought I'd share with you a couple of graphs about previous semesters. First of all, the homework quiz total from fall of 12 has been consistently similar to this one. A whole lot of people buy into the program
that we should do homework and get a whole lot of points. You can see on the graph, over 50% of the class earns 90% or more over the past couple of semesters. So it's almost like it's the haves and the have-nots. Those people that are doing a good job on their homework are accumulating so many points and having a good impact on their final grade ultimately. And then let's look at the final grades themselves. These are the graphs of the final grades assigned fall of 12. There are a lot of A's in this class. You'd think that, as all the things that we hear people say about it, how hard it is and how time consuming, that it would be hard to earn an A. And the graph seems to say that's not true. There's a whole lot of people who earn A's more than any other grade assigned, and I'm convinced that it's because of the investment in homework that makes that difference. I encourage you to let homework have a significant impact on your final grades. I encourage you in that. Let's talk about pop quizzes. You know that 50 points are allocated to pop quizzes. It's part of the 100 points that we call homework and quizzes. Pop quizzes are just what they're described to be. Pop. Surprise. It's part of this mentality of encouraging you to be prepared for each class session. If you anticipated that you thought there was going to be a quiz, would you prepare any better, any differently for class? Well, really that translates to the daily potential that I have to call on you and ask you a question in class, that Socratic method we talked about, or that in-your-face mentality. I'm not trying to intimidate you nor embarrass you. I just want you to learn out of class and be different when you come to the next one. If you were always prepared for a pop quiz, that'd be a good thing. But I want you to know that the pop quizzes are not punitive, not for punishment. They're to assess how you've done that week. Typically, we'll give them at the end of the week, at the end of the class period, the last 10 minutes or so, or 5 minutes. We'll have a little short quiz. If you pay attention in class, if you do your homework, if you rework and practice the exercises we do in class, you'll do a good job on the quizzes, no doubt. I'm looking for your 5 best quizzes. Quizzes will be worth 10 points apiece. If you get to take more quizzes than 5, then we'll drop your low grades. If you miss enough classes that you don't get 5 quizzes, then there are no makeups for quizzes. You'll just have 4 quizzes, and that'll hurt you some. Now, we ideally would have 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 quizzes this semester. We cover 10 chapters. There are not 10 quizzes. All I'm going to say is there are more than 5 and less than 10. If you take, let's say we have 7 quizzes. If you take 7, you get to drop 2. If you take 8, we might get to drop 3. It's a good thing to take all the quizzes so that we're looking for your 5 best to be included in your total homework quiz points. There's 110 points available here, 60 possible for homework and 50 possible for quizzes. Because quizzes are pop in nature, there's no makeup for quizzes. You just have to be in attendance on another day to take a quiz so that you can drop that 0 that you got for not taking the quiz by replacing it with a quiz from another day when you were in class. We use a few elements of technology to communicate electronically in the class. I'm hoping that you'll have an ORU email address. I've been asked by the university to communicate with you through your ORU email address. I've also provided a link on D2L and encouraged you to forward your ORU email to your favorite one. If you have a Gmail account or some other account that you want us to forward ORU email, it's a very simple setup so that you could get that information quickly. But having an ORU email address and checking it on a regular basis would be a good thing. I have to use your ORU email address to communicate to you. I'm encouraging you to use your cell phones and your laptops with discretion. I love technology as much as you do, and I like using my device, but I'm also trying to be respectful of others. We need to spend quality time together, and when your laptop or your cell phone becomes a distraction in the room for you or the people around you, it's a problem in the class. So I'm asking you to be responsible and to be wise and to be mature about how you manage your cell phone and your laptop. Please don't text message in class. Please don't. Just tell your people that text message you that you're in class at this time and that you'll get back with them at another time. Laptops, when used for good purposes, can be a tremendous, powerful tool. But laptops to check Facebook or to check email or to play games or to whatever other distraction is a distraction. And again, we need to spend quality time together, and I'm hoping that you'll be responsible enough to spend time with us. We have a class webpage. It's oruaccounting.com. And on that class webpage, we've got the syllabus and office hours and the class schedule for discussions, the class schedule for labs. But the real impact of the class webpage is that the solutions to the recommended exercises in the self-study column in the syllabus for each chapter, I've recommended questions, brief exercises, and exercises that many of which we may do in class, some of which we'll do at the review session, but all of which you could practice on your own and have the solution available on the class website. Do it and check your work. Do it and check your work. The repetition that comes from that is a fabulous way to learn and master the concepts that we're trying to get you to do. I'll put solutions to the questions there. Quiz solutions will be there at the end of the week or over the weekend so that you can look at the quiz that you took that week if you want to see the solution. There are two versions of the quiz, actually. There's a version that I give on Thursday, and the version I give on Friday is different. So it would be a way to take the other quiz and practice even more. Students have told me over time that I don't promote this enough, that I need to tell you over and over that there is good, essential information on the website and that you would benefit from using it if you could. Again, the address is oruaccounting.com. I'm hoping that you'll explore there and find things to be beneficial to you. If there are things that you think I could help with that I could make available for you on the class website, I would certainly be willing to do it for you.
I need you to turn your syllabus to the very end where the calendar appears. The calendar is the last few pages at the back of the syllabus. I need you to see how the calendar works so you know what the expectations are. Turn to page 10 with me. Find the page in your syllabus that looks like the example on the screen. They're set up in weeks. They're patterns. It's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday process for you, but it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday for some people. Look at the screen if you would. This is today. This is Monday lecture. This is Wednesday. This is Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you. See how it works? Yes or no? Yes. Now, next Wednesday, we're assigning seats in here. Here's the assignment. This is what we're going to turn in class. This whole column are the 35 problems I've described to you. On Wednesday, you're to have P11A prepared from the book, working papers from D2L. Either bring it to class or put it in the Dropbox by 8:49. It's due at the beginning of class on D2L, or it's due in class. That's the first thing I do is collect homework. P11A is due next Wednesday. Look at the screen. P12A and P14A are due next Friday. Can you read the calendar? Do you know what the expectations are? I need you to know the difference between your self-study practice, getting good at it, building a proficiency, and the expectations of learning and turning it into class and getting points. I talked in class some about understanding the calendar portion of the syllabus, and I'm hoping that you understood that from the explanation that we gave. It's important that you know when things are due and what the expectations of the class are. The recommended for self-study portion of the syllabus is very beneficial to you for studying on a weekly basis or studying for the exams. The exercises, brief exercises, questions, and self-test questions that I've recommended there have answers available someplace. Some at the end of the chapter, some on the class website. You can't do them all, I don't think, but if you wanted to try to do them all, you could. I would highly recommend that you invest time in doing the things from that self-study column. This is also a good use of Wiley Plus. Instead of using the answers that are available on the class website, you could log on to Wiley Plus and work the exercise I've recommended and get immediate feedback from your answer.
electronically, the website will respond to you and let you know whether you've gotten that question right or not. What a great way to practice. What a great resource that would be to take advantage of using Wiley Plus in that manner. There's one other thing we need to talk about earning points in the class, and that is a concept called professional development points. Some of the faculty members and I agreed years ago that we couldn't teach you everything in class that you need to know. So we came up with this idea of encouraging you to attend professional meetings or to attend business club meetings that would invite professionals from off campus to share more real-world live experiences with you rather than to study it and talk about it out of a textbook or a case. Professional Development Points is a program that we enter into and we participate in. You can earn points by going to club meetings, going to professional events. At the end of the semester, you can allocate up to 10 points to each class that participates in this program. So if you're in 2 classes, earn 20 points this semester and allocate 10 to one class and 10 to the other class. If you earn 8 points, then you can send all 8 to one class or split it up between 2 classes. At the end of the semester, we'll ask where you would like your points to be allocated during the last week of class, so that would be included in the total points that would be available to you this semester. I hope that you'll participate in the club events that are available to you and have that as an additional little thing that might nudge you over and help you earn a letter grade higher because you're right on the borderline and you need just a little cushion of points to push you over. It'll take some planning at the beginning of the semester and some participation throughout the semester to do that with professional development points.
Have you learned something today, yes or no? Yes. You need to look at Chapter 1 before you come to lecture on Monday. And I need to figure out a way to get the rest of this orientation information to you. Okay? I'm going to work on that. I'll let you know when I have come up with something. There's a big gap of things, a lot of questions that I didn't answer. Have a nice day, a great semester. Thank you for being here today and every day this semester.
I think this covers the main issues that I wanted to in the orientation session. Thanks for being in class and thanks for tuning into this video. I'm looking forward to a great semester. I want you to succeed in the class. Let me help you. Have a great day.